Breaking news.
Mm.
The geopolitics of this. What do you think the world is saying as this goes down? Russia, China, the European Union. What do you think is going on? India. What are they saying?
They are asking the same question that people in the United States today should be asking. Who is running the United States? It can't be Joe Biden. If he's not fit to be candidate for the presidency, and he clearly isn't, by the way, we've all seen the kind of person that he has become. If he is not able to run the United States at this time, who is? Who do they call if there is a crisis? Do they speak to Obama? Because Obama apparently can make or break presidents. He made Joe Biden, and now he's broken him. Do they call Obama? Do they call, God help us, Tony Blinken or Jake Sullivan? Whom do they call? So that is the question that all the major governments of the world are asking at this precise moment. Now, every other government, of course, has its issues with the United States, be they friends or enemies, and they will all be trying to work out now what is going to happen over the next 10 months until January. And they will be very concerned. They will be very worried because they sense a vacuum of power at the center in Washington. Nobody, as I said, clearly in control. They will be very worried that the president, the current president, the incumbent president, assuming he stays, is going to try to do something dramatic and dangerous in order to secure his legacy. They will be worried too about some of the people around him, and most of the world has seen them and measured them and come to the view that Jake Sullivan and Tony Blinken and all of the others are no more fit to do the job than the president himself is. So they will be worried about that. They will be calculating that this is a very, very dangerous time indeed. And they will all be asking what the next president, the next true president of the United States, the one who's going to be elected in November, is going to do. And they will now be hoping, because most of the world wants certainty, they will be hoping that it is Donald Trump, with the exception of Europe. We'll come to Europe in a moment. But most of the world now wants Donald Trump to win because they want somebody in Washington who is back in control. And they will be beating they will be going to Donald Trump's door, trying to work out what his policies are going to be, what he's intending to do when he is president. They'll be crossing their fingers, hoping that he is going to become president. They'll be wanting to know what he's going to do about Ukraine, the Middle East, East Asia, Taiwan, the global economy, all of these things, all of which they're now worried about. The only part of the world that is going to be in crisis, in absolute meltdown at this moment, is Europe. All of the European states have tied themselves to the sinking ship that is the Biden administration. An incredible thing to do. We discussed this in program after program on the Duran. What an idiotic thing that was that they did. Now that ship is visibly sinking. In fact, it's sunk. And they are going to be absolutely terrified. They're going to be absolutely spooked out and wondering, what is this Trump administration, which is coming, going to do? They'll be worried that the Trump administration is going to cut them off. It's going to leave them hanging out to dry over Ukraine. It's going to do all sorts of things that they don't want. And they brought it about because they've refused to talk to Trump. They've acted as if Trump really is the person that Joe Biden and all the people around him say he is. And now they are in very, very serious trouble. But we mustn't focus too much on Europe. The Europeans have their own set of problems brought about by their incompetent and mismanaged politics. Most of the rest of the world, Russia, China, India, all of the African states, all of the East Asian states, all of the Latin American states, they want Trump to win. Even the Chinese, who have had a difficult relationship with Trump, though not as difficult as some people say. They want Trump to win because they want somebody in Washington that they can telephone and speak to and deal with, in the belief that he can actually run the government of the United States and provide a coherent way forward for the United States.
Man, the Europeans, they followed Biden straight into a war with Russia. What a mess up. Wow.
Well,
Wow.
absolutely. Well, I mean, do you remember? I'm sure you do remember. I've seen him cite, some other people now cited that. We spoke about that Charlton when back in 2020 when they nominated him as a candidate. We spoke about that Charlton Heston film in which Charlton Heston plays the Spanish knight El Cid, who's tied to the horse and sent into battle even though he's actually dead. Well, that's just exactly what they did. They let themselves be followed by a man who, politically speaking, was essentially a corpse. And of course, instead of leading them into battle, he's led them off the cliff. And that's what they've done to themselves. It was astonishing. It was absolutely bizarre, but that's what they did. That's what Ursula von der Leyen, Olaf Scholz, Emmanuel Macron, the endless selection of British Prime Ministers, Johnson, Truss, Sunak, even Starmer, the last week who tells us, what a brilliant and incisive and on top of the world and master of detail Biden is. They have brought all this upon themselves and upon Europe as well.
All right. Do you have